not perhaps that big a surprise if anybody who's been watching Travis Kalanick's continued sale of stock. He sold almost all of his ownership stake in the company, of course, the company that he founded, but he will now be stepping off the board of directors. Uber announcing that Mr. Kalanick will resign effective on the 31st of this month to focus on what they say are his new business and philanthropic endeavors. There's a nice quote from Derek Khosrowshahi, the current CEO. Of course, remember, Mr. Kalanick had been involved in, a lot of tension there from that period of time when he was in control and then gave up the CEO-ship, but obviously retained significant ownership stakes. But that has changed significantly. Josh Lipton, you've been following this as well, of course, through the time that he started to be a seller, and that has picked up dramatically. One could imagine that would be followed by his stepping down from the board.
Yeah, I think, listen, David, as you just mentioned, maybe not a big surprise here. Listen, Travis Kalanick has been systematically selling his shares since November 6th. So as you point out, maybe not a huge surprise here. He was on course to actually completely exit his stake from the company. You remember the co-founder, the former CEO of the company, he actually sold about $2.5 billion worth of shares in the company since that lockup period expired last month. He actually he had less than 10% of his holdings left, according to public filings. So not a huge surprise here, but certainly a big step, a huge milestone in it for this company. Of course, the founder of this company gets a lot of credit. Uber, a lot of people would say, would not be where it was without Kalanick, though, of course, analysts, even those who are bulled up on this stock, would, of course, talk about, as you mentioned there, some of what they would refer to as the excesses at the company under his watch. But again, probably not maybe too surprising for investors, given what he's been doing with those shares, David.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, though, Josh, because there's been this sort of story out there for some time, certainly given the performance of the stock since it went public and what has been a poor performance, this idea that Kalanick would somehow come back a la Steve Jobs at Apple. Clearly, we can, I think, dismiss that at this point, but there had been that thought. You know, certainly we know the downside of Mr. Kalanick's time as the CEO, but many also say that the company perhaps lacked the energy and passion that it may have had during his period of time as well.
Yeah, we've certainly heard that stated, David. You know, we look at the recent performance of the stock. Obviously, it's been rocky under Derek Khosrowshahi, though we should note when the company last reported, listen, they are on track for that EBITDA profitability by 2021. Some bulls grabbed hold of that. That was faster than what some of the street expected, though, you know, there wasn't all great news with that last report either. Some metrics came in at least slightly less than what the street is looking for. Remember, the stock actually took a hard hit that day on bookings and users. The Kalanick's move here, the systematic selling, we should note, you talk about the energy, but it was certainly interpreted by some as perhaps a lack of confidence in the company's future. So we'll see how investors react to this headline, though, Dave.